Hey guys, how are you? Hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing a movie review. This movie is a thriller from France. This is spoken in the French and English language with a little bit of English subs. Released in the year 2015, directed by Abner Pastel, and this film is called Road Games. So Road Games is about this British hitchhiker. He's trying to hitch a ride on a lonely stretch of highway in rural France, but the problem is that a lot of people are paranoid about stopping for hitchhikers because there's rumoured to be a serial killer lurking around. So much to his frustration, he can't get anyone to stop, and so the situation looks like he's going to have to walk it there. So he's going through, and then eventually he comes across this car that stops. There's an arguing couple inside the car. Their boyfriend kicks the girlfriend out and takes off, and now so this British hitchhiker has a companion. So they get to know each other while they're waiting for a car, and then eventually a car does stop in the form of an older man. Now this older man says that he can take them to the destination, but before they do that, he's going to take them to his rural home, introduce them to his wife, have something to eat, and then sleep, and then in the morning he will take them where they want to go. So this is not their initial plans, but they see as an offer too good to pass up on because they don't know when the next offer is going to come. So they go back to his house, and straight away they start to regret it because there's a very odd feeling within this couple. And so as the night progresses, they start to realise that maybe the rumour surrounding this highway might have something to do with this couple in their home. So the night's about to get very interesting very quickly, and prevent myself from giving away too much. If you like the way that this film sounds, please go out there and see it for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Road Games. Straight from the first frame of this film, I thought I was onto something big because it actually reminded me of classic French noir films. Now, case in point, Dominique Mole, who made Lemming with A Friend Like Harry, the monk. All very well established French noir films in that you can actually see something on screen that's very mundane. It's not particularly interesting, but it has you on edge because it's something about that atmosphere that captures you. It transfixes you, and you never really feel that you're bored, even though something boring might be happening. So that's the quality of a very good filmmaker, and I think France do that better than anyone else. There's another film in 2004 called Red Lights, which is also based on the French highway. I thought that was absolutely fantastic because the atmosphere never lets you go, and at the start of Road Games, I actually felt that this was emulating what makes Dominique Mole so good and what made Red Lights so good, in that it's the atmosphere that sucks you in. Straight away in this movie, you get a sense of the broad scale of the situation, you get a sense of the broad environment, you got tracking shots of this lonely highway, you also add in some reports of a serial killer, so there's a lot of mystery, and it actually feels very intimidating, and you feel that if these people get lost, there's no one to hear them scream. So they're in a predicament straight away without anything really happening. It's that sense of menace that captures the audience, and you're anticipating something really bad happening. But unfortunately with this movie, the anticipation is never really satisfied to an extent where you actually feel like you're watching a thriller. But putting that aside, I will say that this movie does have positives. Number one is it is in the atmosphere, the certain sense of dread, the anticipation, and that love letter to the films of yesteryear from France. So the cinematography was excellent, very vivid colouring, very saturated colouring, and the soundtrack really helped contribute what the movie wanted to do, and that what it wanted to do was give you a broad sense of something very menacing that was slowly cooking. And so, yeah, the first, say, 15, 20, 30 minutes does a great job at setting a very good platform, but unfortunately after that, the professionalism in the quality of the production in the first 20 to 30 minutes is not complemented by equally professional production as far as the depth of the film is concerned. So you've got very good visuals, but as far as the story, as far as the characters, as far as the script is concerned, it really lets it down, and it really does pad it as something that is very forgettable. And so it's like the fireworks. You've got a big firecracker, you light it up, you're expecting it to illuminate the sky, but it just fizzes out and dies. And in that sense of disappointment from that firework is exactly the sense of disappointment I had from this film, is that it should have exploded and illuminated the sky, but all it does is fizz out, and it just amounts to nothing. And so I think the movie, it bit off a little bit more than it could chew, and it really wasn't capable at trying to do what it was. So it didn't realise its capabilities because the acting and the script just wasn't good enough to hold up the film, and when you can't hold up the film, you can't hold the viewer's interest. And so there are moments in the film that really take you out of it, and you can disconnect yourself from what's actually happening, and that creates a little bit of boredom. So you've got this main character who I didn't like at all, not a terrible actor, but his character wasn't complemented by a good script, so he didn't have a chance to blossom, and so you feel he's very hollow, and when he goes back into his life story, he's telling you a little bit about himself. It doesn't really add anything to that character, so you feel like it's a little bit boring and it's a little bit of a filler. Then you've got his companion that's very bland, and you don't really care about her, and so you've got these two main characters that take up a lot of the screen, and there's actually a long time before something happens, which is classic French noir. But with other films, you've got very interesting characters to hold the film, and that's that sense of anticipation. But the sense of anticipation in this movie, once you actually get into these characters, starts to vanish, and therefore you start to feel like this is filler, and the movie doesn't really know how to elevate itself to a genuinely thrilling film. I thought it was very lackluster as far as sustained thriller is concerned. There are moments that were quite suspenseful, but then it lets it down by it's not able to continue to hold its stranglehold on the viewer's neck. It lets it go and the viewer can breathe again. So I didn't like that. I thought that it elevates itself, but it just doesn't amount to anything. And so the viewer is going to be left thinking that there was a lot of potential that wasn't realised for this film. The script was laughably bad in some areas, so I really can't comment too much on the acting, because maybe if they had a better script they could have developed slightly better characters. But I will say there was one character who was fantastic, and that was from a guy played by Frédéric Pirot, who is supposedly a legendary French actor. I haven't really been familiar with him too much, but he does a great job at portraying the guy who's very strange. But the problem with that is if you've got one really good performance, you need someone else to be equally as memorable to play off that guy. So what you got one guy who steals the show, who takes the limelight, but because no one else is there to really play off him, you feel that he's the only sole interest, and when he's not on the screen, you just don't care what's going on, you're waiting for him to come back. I thought the movie was very mild in its violence, and I just thought it needed a shot in the arm to really wake itself up, but it never comes, as I said. There's a twist at the end that I thought was ridiculous, and it's kind of just there for the sake of being there, and it's not enough to carry the film in what was a very forgettable experience. As I said, there are very good moments in the film as far as suspense and that tension and that French noir feeling in the first 30 minutes, but after that it kind of loses itself in a generic sort of story that fails to elevate itself to anything that will have you on the edge of your seat. So it promises a lot, doesn't deliver on those promises, therefore it comes across as disappointing. So overall, for Road Games, going to give it 2 stars, not coming recommended. That's unfortunate. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.